If you receive both Social Security and SNAP benefits, you might be missing out on extra EBT money every month just because you didn't know about this one little known rule. Only 12% of eligible people are claiming this, so today I'm going to show you exactly how to use this trick to boost your benefits. Now here's the deal. Many seniors and people with disabilities get the absolute bare minimum in food benefits because they don't know that the SNAP program has special rules for people who are disabled or over the age of 60. If you meet either of those criteria, then you can unlock the medical expense deduction. This is a special rule that lets you deduct certain out-of-pocket medical expenses from your income when your food stamps benefits are calculated. This is a huge deal because the lower your countable income is, the more EBT you can get. Now, if this sounds complicated, please don't worry. We're going to break it down in simple, easy to understand terms so that you can make sure that you're getting the SNAP benefits that you qualify for. So here's how it works. Normally, the government looks at your income and expenses to decide how much food assistance you get. If you're over 60 or you're receiving disability benefits like SSI, SSDI, or certain veterans benefits, you can subtract your medical expenses from your income if they're over $35 a month. The amount over $35 is then subtracted from your income, which can raise your SNAP benefits significantly. And remember, according to the official SNAP guidelines, you can qualify for this deduction even if you haven't paid those bills yet, as long as you're the one who's responsible for them. So if you have something major like a hospital bill that you can't quite afford, it could still count towards your deduction for this and help you get more SNAP. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. Federal rules say that only the portion of your medical expenses that exceeds $35 a month can count, but in practice, many states use a standard deduction to simplify this process. For example, in Iowa, you get the same deduction if your medical expenses are anywhere between $35.01 and $160 a month. It doesn't increase within that range, so you'll get the same bonus no matter where you fall in that scale. However, you could get a larger deduction if your medical costs go over $160 a month. Massachusetts clarifies this even farther. Their SNAP guidance says that their standard deduction covers everything up to $190 a month. But if you're spending more than that, then every additional $3 you report increases your SNAP benefits by $1 more up to the maximum allowable SNAP allotment for your household size. So depending on your state, you could receive a flat deduction for typical medical costs, or you may get more money for every dollar you spend beyond a certain threshold. Either way, it's more SNAP dollars in your pocket. CBPP estimates that a typical senior living alone claiming $50 to $200 in medical expenses could receive an additional $7 to $70 in SNAP benefits a month. That may not sound like a lot, but when you consider that most seniors get the absolute bare minimum of around $25 a month, you're talking about a significant increase to that SNAP allotment. So now let's talk about what qualifies as a medical expense. According to the USDA and state agencies, qualifying expenses can include a lot more than just your average doctor's visit. There's a pretty wide range here, and some of these might surprise you. You can usually include your health insurance premiums, including what you pay for Medicare Part B and Part D. These monthly deductions from your Social Security check absolutely count. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan that charges an additional premium, that can count too, as long as you're the one paying for it. Prescription medications are also eligible. That includes anything your doctor prescribes, whether it's a daily medication you take long-term or something short-term like an antibiotic or a pain reliever. Just make sure that you save those pharmacy receipts or ask for a monthly printout from your local pharmacy. Some alternative treatments also qualify, as long as they're prescribed by a licensed practitioner. This can include things like acupuncture, chiropractic care, and even herbal remedies, as long as you have documentation showing that a doctor or a licensed professional recommended it. Over-the-counter medications can count too, but again, only if they've been recommended by your doctor. So if you take things like pain relievers, antacids, allergy medicine, or digestive aids, those can be included. You just need to make sure that your doctor makes a note of it or lists it in your treatment plan. Dental and vision care are often overlooked, but they are also absolutely allowed expenses under this program. That includes routine checkups, cleanings, fillings, dentures, eyeglasses, contacts, eye exams, and so on. Now, if you've paid out of pocket for any of that, please be sure to include it. The same goes for hearing aids and batteries. If you've purchased a hearing aid or needed replacements for the batteries, that's a qualifying medical expense too. You can also include medical supplies like bandages, wound care items, creams, ointments, or incontinence products. These day-to-day items can add up quickly, and the SNAP rules allow you to include them as deductions. Now, if you require help at home, you may be able to count the cost of a home health aide or any caregiving services that you're responsible for. That can also include housekeeping services if they're related to your medical condition and recommended by your doctor. You can also claim expenses for durable medical equipment. That includes things like a hospital bed, wheelchair, walker, cane, or a specialty chair. If it helps with your medical care or mobility and you paid for it yourself, it's likely eligible. Now, if you have a service animal, SNAP lets you deduct the cost of caring for that animal, including food, veterinary bills, and supplies, as long as the animal was prescribed to assist with a medical condition. And finally, there's transportation too. And this is a big one that many people forget about. You can deduct the cost of getting to and from your medical appointments and even your trips to the pharmacy to pick up prescriptions. Eligible transportation costs can include things like the mileage on your personal vehicle, gas receipts, or the full cost of public transportation, ride shares with Uber or Lyft, taxis, or even non-emergency medical transport services if you had to use those. Now, if the trip is medically necessary and you paid for it, keep a record because this can count too. It's important to know that you don't have to pay all of these out of pocket before applying. In most states, as long as you're legally responsible for the expense, even if you haven't paid it yet, like say a big hospital bill or a dental bill, it may still count toward your deduction. Now, if it's paid for by someone else or paid for by Medicaid or Medicare, then you can't count the portion that they paid for. You can count your Medicare premiums and copays though. And don't forget to make sure that you're getting the most out of your Medicare benefits. Call our partner chapter at the number you see on screen. If you're already receiving SNAP, you can contact your caseworker and ask to report your medical expenses. You don't have to wait until your case is up for renewal. You can do this anytime. If you're applying for SNAP for the first time, make sure to include your medical costs in your initial application. You will likely be asked to provide proof. That could include things like receipts, pharmacy printouts, insurance statements, letters from your doctor, and transportation logs or invoices. The more complete your documentation is, the better your chance in getting the deduction is. Some states will automatically apply a standard deduction once they see that you've spent at least $35 a month. Now, they may try to stop you there and not let you go any farther. But if you're spending more than their standard deduction covers, you should be able to itemize all of your expenses and get even more. However, that can be a more tedious process. You may have to ask to speak to a supervisor if the caseworker that you're talking to doesn't know about this. You may be able to itemize all of your expenses and get even more in your SNAP. Now, you can check this chart from Massachusetts to see how this works. Make sure to ask your caseworker what applies in your state, and if you need to, don't hesitate to talk to a supervisor and make sure that you're getting the most accurate information so that you get all the benefits that you qualify for. I hope this video has helped you out. Don't forget to go check out our other video about more things you didn't know about SNAP. I'll see you there.